Hello everybody, it's time for sun ray, but no ray ban in water treatment. UV, you what? You where? This is a picture I'll come back to at the end of the presentation this video, and I will promise you we have answered all the questions at the end of this video. What is UV? It is light. It is light of a certain wavelength. And the wavelength is 254 times 10 to the minus 9th power meters, or short, 254 nanometers. That wavelength has very high energy, but we'll come back to that in a short while. If you compare wavelengths to a radio station, for example, let's take WMAQ in Chicago, which has a wavelength of 450 meters or a frequency of 670 kilohertz. On the picture here, you see the radio spectrum, and WMAQ AM station is here in the radio spectrum. And the UV for disinfection you'll find in the ultraviolet spectrum, which is here. So that would give you an idea of what we're talking about wavelength-wise. Now let's go down and dig a little bit deeper into the UV and how does it look in that spectra. Here we've taken out some of the optical spectra, and you see the ultraviolet section between 100 to 400 nanometers. Also here you see the wavelength that is very important when we do disinfection, the wavelength of 254 nanometers. So now you know a little bit about wavelengths and the special wavelengths for UV for disinfection. Now let's get down to the key issue using UV for water treatment, and that is disinfection. The disinfection works by inactivation of pathogenic organisms. So how do we do the inactivation with UV? We have the wavelength of the light of 254 nanometers, which you now know carries very, very high energy. What happens? The UV light will attack the very basic of life in the pathogen organism, the DNA. The DNA is what makes life possible. Without the DNA, life stops. And the UV light in the pathogenic organism will break the DNA chain or block the DNA replication by gluing two of the amino acids together, as shown here in the picture. So it's a very effective block of certain pathogenic organisms by attacking the DNA and stopping the possibility to replicate for the organism. The absorption of UV breaks the DNA, as I told you now. Also, then no working DNA, no reproduction, no infections, problem solved. How can a UV unit look when you go into a water treatment plant or a wastewater treatment plant? It can look something like this. You see the water coming in, the water going out, and I'm just going to point out two things here. First, the UV sensor. That is very important to control the lamps and basically how well the unit disinfects. Secondly, I just want to make a short note to what is called a wiping system. Basically, wipers that clean off the lamps. This is mainly used for sewage treatment, not so much in drinking water treatment. Then you have other headings, which I will not go into. Now we come to the $1,000 or question. Where is the UV lamp in the picture? Is it this one? Or is it this one? Of course, you're correct. You've seen my presentation, you've seen the video, so of course you knew immediately that this was the UV unit on the picture. Okay, now you've solved the problem. You probably know a little bit more about UV. So here you have two pictures from Gotland. I won't tell you where they're from. You can probably figure it out when you get over here sometime. With that, I will just say thank you, and remember, water really rocks. Take care. Bye-bye.